Session, first of all, let us discuss the motive of this session. First of all, we shall not be solving the entire verbal section here, as you already have taken this test. My point would be to tell you that how difficult was the paper and what should be done in order to maximize the score, and how dangers can be avoided, pitfalls can be avoided, and scores can be maximized. That's why I shall not be taking up all the questions, few difficult questions and few medium level questions. So just press yes if your percentile in verbal section was fine. Just press yes if you got 90 plus percentile. How many of you got 90 plus? Those who are attending this session. Just press yes if you got 90 plus. Okay, if you scored 80 to 90, just press yes if you got 80 to 90, so that we can better think of the strategies, what should be done. Okay, Shreya, fine. Charu, fine. So all of you, two of you, three. So all of you approximately 80 plus or 90 plus, obviously less than 95 plus. So if I talk about the strategy, let us look at the macro level picture of this exam. In this verbal section, out of 34 questions, 7 questions were easy, 19 were moderately difficult, and remaining 8 were difficult. So I'm repeating this: easy 7, moderate 19, and difficult 8. Now let's look at the strategy wise, that how to maximize the score if I know this data beforehand. So I will assume that while solving easy questions, our accuracy should be 80% approximately. It would be good if it is 90%. So I'm assuming 80%. 8, 7, 56. So approximately 5 to 6 questions out of these 7 easy questions. So just note down 5 questions out of 7. We should get correct at least. Let's say in medium level, while attempting medium level questions, moderately difficult question, our accuracy should be, I'm assuming that 60%. Let's say it's a bit lower. It should be actually 70%, but I'm assuming 60%. 96 to approximately 10 questions. So 10 plus 5, 15. And out of difficult questions, 8 difficult, if I assume that my accuracy is just, let's say 20%, then 2 questions, then it is, if it is 30%, at the moment generally it is 30%, so 30%, 2.4 question, so 3 question, let's say 3 questions. So earlier 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 3, 18. So out of 34 question, it is assumed that in order to score well, I should get minimum 10 plus 5 plus 3, 18 correct. So you should keep this in mind. That's how we calculate. So out of easy question, my accuracy should be at least 70%. So when you analyze yourself, your performance, make sure that because we send you these this particular pie chart in which we clearly mention that these were easy question and these were difficult questions. So while analyzing yourself, you analyze your performance. So make sure that out of easy questions, your accuracy should be at least 80%. If it is coming less than 60% or 50%, means serious problem is there. We should go and revise the concepts again. Number 1. Number 2, while solving moderately difficult question, was your accuracy 60%, 70%, or it is 30 or 40%? It has to be minimum 60. At the max, it can go up to 70%. Rarest of rare case, it would touch 80%, but that is rarest of rarest possibility. And while solving difficult question, if my accuracy is 30%, 40%, I will be able to sail through. So first of all, in this particular paper, one should get minimum 18 correct. Now in order to get into 95 bracket or 99 bracket, since I'm assuming that we haven't done the complete syllabus yet, we all are 2015 students, so I'm assuming that we have done till now, let's say 60% syllabus at the max. On the higher side, let's say could be 70%, but with 60 and 70% syllabus coverage, if you manage to get let's say minimum 12 correct, so this would be taken as normal, because out of 34 question syllabus, but if I look at the macro level distribution of the paper, primarily you will find RCs 16 question, 4 into 4 question each. Then we have got 7 misfit plus para jumbling, 7, 16 plus 7, 23. Then we have got 6 or 7 summary plus inference based question, 30 and 1 or 2 or 3 at the max grammar based question. Normally in our bullseye classes, we cover these chapters in our pack 1. Only the chapter which is critical reasoning and sentence generation is in pack 2. So I would assume that primarily while doing pack 1, if we have covered pack 1 already, so we have covered 50 to 60% of the paper. So just with 60-70% of the syllabus, if you manage to get 12 or 15 correct out of 34, I would be more than happy with your performance. So don't worry, don't demoralize, don't get demotivated that if you're not scoring well. This was very first test and we should not worry about speed first of all. And very first test, the problem is with the time management. First of all, we are not able to manage the time. So make sure that we should be able to manage the time properly. And in order to manage the time properly, we should keep tab on the time. It's 85 minutes for both the section, 170 minutes. So keep, generally my opinion is that I should keep 35 minutes for DI and 50 minutes for maths. Similarly, 35 minutes for analytical reasoning and left 50 minutes for verbal. So this is my idea, but we can change as per our strength and weaknesses, and there is no point in very first analysis. I shall not be talking about your strength and weaknesses. This is possible only if we take 5 to 6 mocks and analyze our performance. If in any area constantly we are getting low score, that means that particular area is weak, and constantly I'm getting good score in any particular area or topic, that means I've got great hold on that particular topic. So, but again, this can change. For example, I feel that my arithmetic or my RCs are absolutely fine. Somehow, if on D day, if I'm not able to perform well because of the difficult question, difficult RC, so things would be turned upside down. So don't worry about this. We should not have any preconceived notion. But yes, definitely we should have plan or a strategy before taking any exam. So this was a macro breakup of this paper. So coming on to this analysis, now the CAT has changed a little. Primarily, as we all know, that CAT has become, if I talk about English section, primarily verbal section, 34 questions, I shall be talking about only 34 questions. It has become reading, RC driven section. Don't worry if you're not comfortable with grammar throughout your preparation. Let's say in the month of November, you still feel that you're not comfortable with grammar. Don't worry, because at the max, you'll be having 1 or 2 questions. The prime focus should be on reading because it covers 50%, and in second pack, as far as our books are concerned in Bullseye, generally we have in pack 2 we have got sentence arrangement chapter and critical reasoning chapter. Primarily there we focus on summary based and inference based question, strengthening, weakening, etc. So the point is, primarily it is still RC based, and RC is the very first or second chapter we cover in our classes. And we tell you the tricks also, everything. So out of 16 questions, if I manage to get, now look at the RC, 16 questions, if I manage to get 60% of my attempts, let's say my attempt is only 70%, 16 into 7, and out of this 16 into 70% attempt, my accuracy is 70%, I'll be able to sail through. But point is that most of the students complained after this first test, sir, RCs were very difficult, and while doing RCs, first of all, we were not able to reach or complete or cover all the RCs because of short of the time, no doubt. I could understand that was your first test, so it was very difficult for you to manage time. But from next time onward, now the fourth would be starting soon, so I would suggest and advise that you should try all combination and permutation. Let's say you want to start with your maths or you want to start with your AR, it's up to you. At whatever subject you want to start with, you can go for. But point is that you have to keep tab on time. And if I talk about CAT and XAT versus rest of the test, again in my session, all the sessions in my all the classes, I tell my students that CAT and XAT, these two tests are accuracy driven. Don't worry about the speed. We're not competing with anybody here. These two are accuracy driven, so focus on accuracy. Speed again can be increased with little practice and with confidence, because with practice confidence would be increased, and with increased confidence we can take the risk. So speed is not an issue. The point is accuracy, because in CAT or XAT, these two are accuracy. Rest, if you talk about SNAP, you talk about NMAT, rest all are accuracy driven exams. So don't worry about speed, but just focus on accuracy with a couple of tests. So till now, if I am clear till now, just press yes so that we should take up few questions. which students find difficult. So point is that analysis, the purpose of analysis is to make you comfortable in making strategies and to maximize your score, and what should be done with my limited strength and weaknesses so as to maximize my score. So let's talk about a few questions. Let's say I marked few questions as per the level of difficulty generated by the way the students or the test takers attempt the questions. So we categorize them into three areas. Let's say easy. How we categorize three areas? Let's say if any question is attempted by maximum number of students and more than 50% got this particular question correct, then this question would be tagged as an easy question. Let's say if I say any question particularly picked by only half of the students and maximum number of students, let's say, but only half of them got correct, then the question is termed as moderate, medium. And if I say this, any particular question was picked up by only a few students, handful of the students, and out of this handful of the students, only few of them got correct, then question is termed as difficult. So while doing your analysis yourself, make sure that you should not be spending too much time in fighting with difficult level question, because if you do so, you'll not be able to complete the paper, and this is not a good strategy for any manager that he would spending all his resources. And for any exam, the resources, we have got only two resources, are intelligence and the time. Since intelligence can again be controlled, increase or decrease, but time is not in our hands, so we have to be extra cautious about this precious resource during exam. So this is not a sign of a good management that you keep spending your time on difficult question. Make sure that you get easy questions correct, and moderate or medium level question, at least my accuracy should be 50%, at least at the max 60-70%, and attempt should also be 60-70%. We cannot go more than 60-70% as far as, but in difficult question we are not sure, but again still I will assume that 20% minimum if I go and attempt, and 40% at the max. But make sure that you should not spend entire energy, time, resources on solving difficult questions. So from next time onwards, be careful. So let's talk about few questions. Let's say I picked a few questions and we have to rush through because RC cannot be ready in just 2 or 5 minutes, but I just pick a few questions so that we can discuss a few questions. Primarily the objective is not to solve the paper here, just to discuss few points, strategies. So let's move on to first slide. Let's see what we have. Now this very question, I don't know why students have marked this question as moderately difficult, but I was very surprised to find this question felt difficult, not medium but moderately difficult. I don't know, but again, don't worry about the grammar. We have out of 34 questions, 2 or 3 questions, so don't worry, but keep revising grammar. Revise grammar at least 3-4 times before you sit for real exam. In the month of October, November, papers will be starting. So before that, make sure that you revise grammar at least thrice or 4 times. Would be sufficient practice as much as you can, but don't worry too much about the grammar. Just focus on reading, that to reflective reading. In next session I shall be talking about how to read and what to read. So 52nd question, how many of you got this correct? Those who are attending this session, just press yes. I think it's very difficult even to recall this question, whether we got this question correct or not, but point, yes Chetan, you got this correct. Okay, so the answer to this question was 4th option, and we have to pick up the correct we have to pick up the correct one. And sentence A was wrong. Jaden's family emigrated. It cannot be emigrated to. It is always emigrated from, immigrated to, moved to. Just forget emigrated for a while. It has to be moved to. So first was wrong. A sentence was wrong, and C was also wrong. C could be very easy question. Father was eminent. Was an eminent. So I don't know why this people mark this as difficult, but again, still I would again suggest that please revise grammar. So shall we move on to next question? Just press yes, keep on pressing yes whenever I ask any question, because sometimes technically because of any snag, if you're not able to if I'm not audible or something. So let's move on to next question. Let's say what we have. I just picked up few difficult for moderately difficult questions. So now this RC, let's say, can you see this RC on your screen? Okay, Sai, can you explain again? Yes, in this 2 sentences were wrong. Okay, three sentences were wrong. A, B, and C, and D and E were correct. You're asking 52nd question. So if I go back to 52nd question, there was one more problem with this. First, Jaden's family immigrated to A was wrong. Second, because they found superficiality of Australian culture to be truly incredulous. It cannot. It is a wrong word, wrong usage, faulty word here. It cannot be incredulous. It has to be incredible. Means not believable, unbelievable. So and C was also we have to put an article and before this eminent. Yeah, Nandini, incredible. So am I clear? Yes, Sai, you asked this question. Should I move ahead? Okay, Sai. So by taking your name, shall we go near to the God? What a name. Okay, let's move ahead. So now coming on to this RC. Now we were talking about RC, so my prime motive would be to focus our mind on RCs. Rest, any area can be managed easily. But if I talk about this RC, primarily political science based and with a tinge of philosophy, it is primarily political philosophy. What should be the political system? What ethics are to be followed? What should be the moral of the society or of an individual? If I look at the level of difficulty, probably I have to be extra focused while reading these kind of RCs. Now, people generally, students, test takers generally find this very difficult. That anything which is based on philosophy, psychology, we find these 2, 3, 4 areas, primarily art and culture, history, sometimes very difficult. See, since why we find these areas difficult, because we are not aware of the few of the terms used by the author here, and we do not frequently read these articles or these kind of articles or this particular genre. The point is, from now onwards, make sure that you increase the variety of this reading, include as many genres types in your reading, because personally if I love, generally this is true also, I love suspense thriller. Whenever I get the time I go and read suspense thriller, but make sure that if you want to crack CAT, you have to increase the variety, because RC can come from any area, and primarily we know your weak areas, that youngsters, text takers, young students not comfortable with this philosophy, psychology, art and culture, and these obsolete area, outdated areas. So whenever anything is framed from these particular areas, they'll not be comfortable. I know, I can bet on that you'll be very comfortable in something related to Facebook, something related to dating, something related to WhatsApp. Even I can bet that you'll not read the entire passage and you can straight away answer the questions. But point is, so we know your weaknesses at this particular age till 21. No one is bothered about philosophy, art, etc. until unless we have seen some personal setbacks during college days or 14th February kind of setbacks. No one will go and read philosophy or psychology, etc. But yeah, from now onwards, make sure that you read. So please rush through this. If you have the time, please rush through this, because we have got only 25 minutes. Rush through this RC. Are you carrying your hard copy or the soft copy with you of this paper? Best would have been carrying hard copy. Gurpreet is carrying, Pritika, Shubham, Shreya. Yes, all of you carrying this. Okay, then we can move on to straight away question, because this passage. So this is second half of this RC. This was RC number 1 of this paper. I would term this as moderately difficult, moderate to tough while reading. If I'm already exhausted after attempting maths or DI, I'll not be able to attempt this RC well, and my accuracy would be 30 to 40%. Let's say if you got 40 to 60%, 30 to 40%, this cannot be considered as bad, because you're already exhausted, and this is a very difficult area. So let's see if you remember this RC. Let's move on to next question what we have. So I've picked up only few questions. What can be inferred about the way to transfer morality to a social system? So any answers? Let's say if you know, because now we have already solved this paper. I don't know why people picked up this question as moderately difficult. Now, are we all aware of the definition of inference? So again, let's revise. Inference is actually a conclusion based on the given fact. It's conclusion about unknown based on a given fact. What choices cannot be answered to an inference-based question? First, direct statement from passage or anywhere cannot be an answer to an inference-based question. Second, it should not be the restatement of any of the lines. So make sure that these two should not happen, should not be there in one of the choices. So if I go through, so if I read this passage, so probably I find that author starts with something political system, and he focuses on individuals' right and morality first, then rights and right to action, and he has mentioned few of the things that what are our rights, and these rights are fundamental. Everyone has right to live with dignity, honor, etc., and to sustain, to support himself and his family and near dear one around. So there should not be any kind of compulsion in neither from the state government, central government, or from the other people. So you have got every right to live whatever way you want to. So if I look at the last paragraph, so what was the answer? Okay, Shreya, now am I audible? Shreya, am I audible now? Just press yes if I am audible. So what was the answer to this particular question? Yes, second, yeah, by ensuring the task of the one, and where one could find this particular choice, just last few lines, read last few lines, and probably we could have found this particular answer to this question, that by ensuring the task of the government protection of an individual right. Just read last paragraph and the last few lines, because I do have hard copy in front of me also, so we can very well see the last few lines. The constitution was written to protect the man from the government. The bills of right was not directed against private citizens but against the government. So this last few lines, how this morality can be transferred or taken care of in a social system, is that government should protect the individual's right. So 60 question, I would suggest that. And how many of you got this correct? Okay, let's move on to next question. Let's say I picked up this Gurpreet. Okay, you did. Fine. So of all right mentioned below, which one is constituted to be most fundamental? Let's say, but should have RC right in front of you, because otherwise while doing analysis it is very important, very difficult for us to recall all the answers right now. But now it is about your most fundamental right. Now somewhere in the passage he has mentioned right to a property if one earns it. It is not your right, it is not your fundamental right. Let's say if I write right to a property is a fundamental right, doesn't mean that it is a responsibility of the state to provide you with the property or the government. If you deserve, if you earn it, then it is your right to maintain it, to keep it with you. So this was, I think, one of the fundamental things which has been clearly mentioned in the passage. So this is, I think, given in the second last paragraph. So in action, it's talking about action to showcase. So answer to this 60-second question was, I think it was 2, to showcase that it is a right that guarantees the ownership of the produce derived from one's effort. Again, second last paragraph. Simply you will find this. But if I talk about to highlight that is the most fundamental right of all. So this is first is half true. If let's say if you pick up first, it is not entirely wrong, but it is only half true. To draw our attention to third question, if I am impressed by third question, to draw the third choice, to draw the attention to the fact that it is not a right to an object. No, we have got every right, but if it is, if we have earned it, and to illustrate man's right pertaining the use and disposal of material object, it is not until unless we earn it. So primarily, so it has to be second question. Let's say what we have next time. Next question. Now, I could have answered this if my vocabulary. 63rd question, we have been asked altruist collective doctrine. I can tell you so many times that even without reading the passage, sometimes don't apply this practice immediately as soon as you're done with this today's session. Make sure that you read passage and then answer. I could have answered this question even without reading the passage, because provided that my vocabulary should be average, above average. Altruist, do we know the meaning of altruist? Altruist means taking care of, you rise above your self-interest, taking care of society and thinking of other people also. So altruist collectivist means you have to think collectively as a society. It should not be only about you. Selfless motive. Yeah, 3, 4 helping, charo, yes, welfare of others. So probably pick up the choice which is highlighting this particular philosophy. Doctrines means philosophy. People are not able to sometimes get the meaning of the words asked in the question itself. So in this particular option question, the answer collectivist. So I would say moral value. He has mentioned that there is no point in doing any action as long as it's not going to harm society. But if it is going to harm society, we should not go for these kind of actions. So it is not that anything can be done if one wishes so. So answer to this question was yeah, altruist and self-sacrificial. Yes, yes, Shivam, absolutely fine. You all are born genius. I don't know that what you are waiting for. You already cracked the cat, you all people. So answer to this question was first, moral value of individual action depends solely on the impact of other individual regardless of consequent individual itself. So yes, it is. Other were just not correct or half correct. For example, if I pick up second, moral value of society action depends solely on the impact of individual regardless of its consequence of society. He has talked about the society. Collectivist means society. We have to take society into consideration. So in any choice where society is taken out, the choices should be rejected immediately. Therefore second is rejected. Therefore the fourth is rejected because it talks about partial impact. So collectivist means society. So probably could have answered easily with little common sense, smart sense. So I can tell you a number of times. So whenever I'll be taking sessions, these kind of sessions, I'll keep on telling you that this question could have been attempted just by without reading the passage or something like this. In second, probably second cat mock, we do have few questions. 63rd, it is A. Charu, it is A. The answer to this question, I think it is A. Second, I'm saying second is not right because collectivist means society. In any choice, when society is taken out of the picture, the choice should be rejected. That's why we have rejected second choice. Third is also half correct. Again, we're talking about consequences, not solely dependent on other individuals. Means again, third choice, society has been taken out. Fourth also is talking about partial impact. So collectivist means society. So that's why. Let's move on to next question. Again, I would term this RC as very black and white RC, boring RC, and energy sucking RC. If you read this RC, probably you'll not be left with any desire, material desire in this world, and you will attain spiritual enlightenment, and you lift yourself above Maya kind of, if you understand this. So just rush. It was the RC. Let me give you the gist of this RC. This RC was about that personal despair or discouragement, and at the initial stages of our lives, let's say till adolescence and adulthood, we all are very positive. We have got every kind of thrill or challenge in us, and we are ready to take world head on because energy is flowing, the hormones are flowing, everything seems to be fine. But as soon as we enter adulthood or enter manhood, we are restricted by the society and the norms made by the society and the elders of the society and the world we all believe in. I would say that this passage, I think, reflects the status or the picture of the scenario of youth in our country or any country, any society. So passage, I would suggest that it is moderate to difficult. A few of the things were very easy to understand, but again, since it is very near to your own life, and right now you have seen just couple of 2 or 3 years back, you have left this teenage, now you're 2021. So we all know about this. Yes, initially sometimes we all till teenage or 11, 12, etc. We all are very positive about the life, etc. Whenever we face challenge, when we face failures, the passion will come down. We all feel discouraged, demotivated, and he has given very important message in this passage, and that is this: if your knowledge and whatever we acquire qualities are not translated into action, the depression will seep in our system or psychology, and we shall not be able to rise. But few of the lucky people, courageous people, those have this ability to come out of the depression, they succeed in all the challenges, and they are successful in their lives. So probably it's one hidden message. Don't just take this as one of the RCs. This is actually the realities of life. If you come out of your depression, take challenges head on. Don't worry if you're not getting 1 or 2 or 3 marks, not up to your expectation. Don't worry. Life is not about marks. So let's move on to what question I have picked up. So this last paragraph is very important. The adolescent pessimism cannot be wrought into action. Some mood disappears when real action is demanded. So kind of, if you busy yourself in this second last paragraph, we say that if you busy yourself in any particular chosen area of work, there will not be any pessimism or pessimist thought entering your mind or entering your life. So make sure that in real life also you involve yourself in one or any other activity. It has to be positive. So let's see what questions I have picked up. So we are in short of time. We have got only 15 minutes. So according to the passage, now this also I could have answered without reading the passage. Seeing the way in our culture the kids are brought up, performing actions and reciting speeches made up us for century before we were born. Now we are talking about we are not supposed to follow whatever comes to our mind. We have to follow certain rules, societal rules, norms, behavior set by our elders in the society or the previous generations. So reciting should not be taken as taken in literal sense. Reciting means we are not supposed to speak exactly what they used to our previous generation used to speak or utter. So reciting speeches means we are supposed to follow. That's why whenever we take this literal meaning of this word is reciting, so we'll get into the trap and we'll pick up the answer as option 1. I don't know that how many of you picked up the answer option as 1, but again we should not take the reciting speeches means we are not supposed to take the literal meaning of this word. So any guesses, guys? Let's say are you able to recall the answer to this particular question? 65th question. Yeah, fourth. Again, this could have been answered even without we begin to follow established state of norms, action, behavioral pattern as we make transition from childhood to manhood, and thus trap ourselves in something in a cycle of repetition. This is, I think, last few paragraphs he has mentioned clearly that it is not exactly the literal meaning of the word recital. So that's why again. People have termed this, test takers, students have termed this question as moderately difficult. If you ask my personal opinion, for me this question was very easy and I could have answered it without reading the passage as such. Just superficial browsing, I could have answered this question. So again, just to kill your time, we frame these lengthy questions. Even CAT frames lengthy questions. So kindly go through all the statements. Just rush through, and you will find all the statements to be true. Let us read. Over the period of time, the appeal of newly discovered manhood woman diminishes when we face and we find ourselves closed by wall created by the world. So first is fine. As per the passage, it is given. In new century, there is chance of pessimism, youth replaced by strenuous rigmarole of continuous occupation of some set or other. Yes, he has given that if you divert your attention to some other, get into any particular work or work area, you'll be able to come out of the pessimism. The second is also right, I suppose. And third, the fangs of pessimism bite almost every youth. We all go through this. It is correct. As per the passage, some men have a resolute. Do we know the meaning of word resolute, guys? Because most of the people do not. Yeah. Okay, Saurabh, you're getting tempted by this particular technique shown by me. That can we answer this question without reading the passage? Not exactly without reading. See, my reading would be a little more than you in terms of quantity, in terms of quality. But yes, just with superficial reading, we could have answered this question, Saurabh. Don't take this, without not exactly without reading, just by superficial browsing, just reading it quickly, I could have answered this question. And now am I audible? 34501069, whatever your number is. Are you Saurabh or so? Okay, so see, yes, this is the technique which I try to teach my student during taking classes also. This we can answer a few of the things even without reading the passage. If you attend my offline classes at Bullseye, you'll find that I keep on telling these tricks, that's how to answer these questions smartly and how to enter examiner's psyche while framing the questions. So that is what analysis is all about, and a kind of session I take. The purpose session is this only. I'm not here to solve the entire paper. We already have taken this exam. There's no point in solving. So answer to this question was fourth. All the choices are clearly mentioned. Yes, Pritika, the sources would be, let's say there is Project Syndicate, the site by the name of Project Syndicate. I generally prefer a few of the newspaper I follow online, New York Times, Guardian, Chicago Tribune, and London Times, and a few of the magazines I follow, The Economist primarily, and few philosophy journals, medical journal, Lancet medical journal, but I primarily follow Project Syndicate. So I will find many RCs and you will get the same feel as you get while doing these mock CATs. So generally, but make sure that all of you, those who are attending the session, make sure that you include philosophy, psychology in your reading. don't just read whatever you like. Make sure that you read books also, you read newspapers also, you read online stuff also, and practice online twice or thrice a week, because ultimately the papers, major exams are online, or they'll become online in near future. So, and it is very difficult to read RCs online. Let's say if the same paper is taken on paper based exam, as a kind of paper based, we'll have we could have scored well, much higher than this whatever we score online. So again, the checks our patience. So let's move on to next question. Again, we are left with only, I think, 10 or 12 odd minutes. So again, misfit type. Now this is a very important trick I want to tell you about misfit type before we wind up this session. So whenever we teach our students how to rearrange the sentences, like by sentence arrangement question where we are given 4-5 sentences and we have to rearrange them in a proper logical order, we go by few tricks like generally, and teach my students these tricks that find opening, closing, mandatory pair, keyword link method, chronological, cause effect, etc. With the help of few tricks we can solve para-jumbling questions. But again, same tricks are not applicable while solving misfit type. Make sure that, now listen very carefully, now while solving your misfit, out of 4 sentences we have to find the odd one. Make sure that you try to link these sentences via theme. Just try to locate the theme in the sentences given, and you will find that 3 are linked via central theme, one single theme, and 1 is left out. So left out sentence is called odd man out. So don't apply the tricks wherever, if you have learned already these tricks, whatever we use while solving sentence arrangement question, make sure that you go and link the sentences by theme. So you'll be able to link 3 sentences and 1 will be left out. Let's say if I read this question number 68, let's say, so odd one was second. Rest we are talking about living and non-living both. And in this sentence only we are talking about living thing. So if I talk about the linking themes only, in all the sentences 1, 3, 4 we were talking about living, non-living, but in this we were talking only about living. So that is odd one out. So make sure that, my purpose of picking this question was just to tell you this trick, that link the sentence by theme. Don't go by opening sentence, closing sentence, etc. Try to link the theme, not the keywords, not the the cause effect types, etc. Just try to link the sentences through theme. That's theme generally we teach you while solving RCs. That's why the question, what is the central theme of the passage? So in RCs, so all the areas are interlinked. If you're comfortable with RCs, you'll be comfortable in CR also while solving these rearrangement question also, etc, etc. So primarily everything revolves around reading, and the comfortable reading and the reflective reading. Reflective means practice, and you should be affected by whatever you read. Means philosophy, don't read for the sake of philosophy, that I told you that we have to read this just for the heck of doing so. So am I clear about this? Got this trick how to solve misfit sentences? Just press yes. Don't go by the sentence arrangement tricks, but go by the theme linking method. You'll be able to solve. So again, this passage I think was very easy. I don't know, few of the students, most of the students got this passage, termed this passage as difficult. This was based on this life of the poet Anna Akhmatova, Russian poet. I don't know why people picked up this term this as difficult. So I just picked up one question. I wanted to discuss this with you. So still we have got 5-7 minutes. Let's move on to again, I'll be solving this without reading, without too much and getting into reading this passage. The writer's tone was, let's say if I go through just superficially, I'm running short of time, but only provided that I should have average vocabulary. Now let's see 74 question. I read this passage once and I was not able to understand it completely. Understanding was just partial, and I've been asked the tone of this passage. So writer's tone in the passage seems to be, without reading the passage, see how I attempt this. So biographically subjective. Why this cannot be the choice? In biography, any author in any biography will not restrict ourselves only to 1 or 2 events. We'll pick up the very personal events of the subject while writing biography. So in this passage he has only talked about few instances and how this poetry written by this poet was taken by the society at that particular time. So it cannot be biographically subjective. Author is not at all putting his or her opinion every time, and is not, he has picked up only one or two instances related to the poetry of this poet. So straightway rejective. Introspectively narrative, he is not telling any story, getting deep into inside in the brain or psychology of this poet, and is not analyzing himself, the author, so it cannot be second even. Euphemistically informative, so this again can be rejected straight away. Euphemism is saying something negative using positive words, so it's not at all criticizing, it's not praising, it's not criticizing using positive words. So he has mentioned critically that the image about her, the way the world perceived, the image perceived by the world about this poet was created by poet himself or herself. So we are only left with why not to Pritika. Yeah, it cannot be narrative. He is not telling any story. He has, no doubt, he has mentioned one or two instances, examples to prove that most of the people think about this lady, the poet, because the way she created her image, it's not introspectively. So narrative is a little weak word in this case, and introspectively strictly no, is not getting deep into the psyche of this poet. Therefore, second rejected. Euphemistically again rejected because the term word euphemism, if you know the meaning of the euphemism, in 74th question I think author has with very clear objectives of describing the personality of this poet. He has described the work and the life of this poet. So best would have been 74th question, objective descriptive. See, whatever question I picked up, they were all difficult, and I am telling you how to solve this question even without reading, or let's say if I haven't understood this passage completely, even then we could have solved these questions. So let's say just quickly rush through, because I'll be okay. Now 84th question of this 84th question, I think I don't know why when people have picked up this as moderately difficult. Now as we know, the technique mandatory pair FB in this case, or mandatory pair, the opener in this case was C. C sentence is everybody accept a great many things from the budget. So at one point it would be a personal level, and at what point it would be impersonal level. So FB would form a mandatory pair. Similarly, DE will also form a mandatory pair. And no, therefore the answer to this question was question number second. So yes, the very first sentence opener, do we know how to track the opener, guys? Those who are attending this session, students, do we know how to track an opener? Pritika, yes, are you my student or Pritika? Shivam, so no. Yes, Sai, you're not, you're okay, you're online. So how many my students are attending this session, those who attend my classes or in my batches? Sir, why not for Shreya? So it has to be, an opener should always introduce the topic or theme of the discussion, number one, and Shreya is fine. That is right, the Shreya is right, because opener should be very journal, complete, independent, and should be able to stand alone. If these characteristics you find in any particular sentence termed as an opener. Am I clear, guys? Sharu, so you are my student? Okay, fine. Yeah, Pritika, it has to be standalone. Prabal. Okay, Prabal. So wherever we go, we'll find Prabal always. So how is your Godrej doing? Okay, let's move on to, let's say, what we have. So again, we have been find odd one out. So my purpose was just to tell you this trick, that while solving odd one out, we have to link the sentences by theme, not by any other trick. So answer to this question was again 2. Second, because in the rest of the sentences we are talking about compulsion to buy, and what's the reason behind this compulsion to buy, and this is talking about that what will be the result of all these. So result would be taken aside. This is something else different from the theme, and other three sentences 1, 3 and 4 we are talking about that why do we go for shopping without any reason, and blame should be upon us or any other. So second is little out, therefore answer. We already have taken 1 minute extra. I don't know, still I'm audible, guys? I think we are done with the session, but again I'll not take this question again. Grammatically I was interested in taking last 3 questions of the passage, let's move on to let us examine this passage. This is the last passage. Now, what I feel personally that when we reach the last passage, we already are exhausted, tired, and we're not able to concentrate or understand even the simplest sentences. That's why I feel that when I read this passage, no doubt we create these passages, but when I read this passage, I found this to be not so difficult. I don't know why the people have given all the question termed as the question has have been termed as difficult. So this passage was about, let me check, this passage was about opinions and how man should act and what should be there, and what about independent thinking, spontaneity, creativity. Again, this was kind of passage talking about societal philosophy. So I found this passage to be easy, but I don't know that why how people students termed this as. So which of the following would the author agree with? 95 question. Now students have given this as difficult. I don't know why, because I found this so liberty of a man is subject to the ends of his thought. 95th question I have picked up. His action. Now liberty, the freedom, he is talking about libertarian philosophy versus liberty, that is freedom. Libertarian people, those who believe, propound, follow the philosophy of liberty, and he has given no doubt liberty should not be always about freedom, should be should have some limitations also, restrictions also. So fourth option is right, liberty of the man is subject to end of his action. So it's not the means but end. So even without, because whenever we do freedom should be judged as per the consequences, not the means. If I do something positive but the end result is going to harm the society, again should be avoided. So ends of his section, not the means. So we should be very clear about the means and ends. Now again, inference, and I have found the most of the students find inference based question very difficult to answer. They understand the passage well, but sometimes they falter while answering inference based question. Am I audible, guys? So last few minutes, after that I'll be winding up this session. So 96th question, it can be inferred from the passage. Let's read first. Men indulge in practices that consciously generates half-truth. No, we are not talking about the half-truth. It is last passage. Last paragraph of this passage I read, it says that other side of truth should also be taken into consideration. It should not be black and white life or the path. So it's not half-truth rejected straight away. Diversity of opinion can lead to explore different sides of truth. This is clearly given actually. The one line upon which this conclusion can be drawn, this actually is an answer. Let's see why third is wrong. Unilateral opinions can filter half-truths. No, it cannot. Unilateral truth cannot. It has to be multi-sided. That's why he's talking about spontaneity, talking about the diverse opinion. In presence of second, third cannot be taken as correct. Having too many opinions can obfuscate. Now we should know the meaning of obfuscate. Just to confuse you, we have given the word obfuscate, which also means confused. Having two opinions will not confuse or mar the truth. Otherwise, instead, on contrary, it will highlight. It will make it brighter. So 96th question can be answered even without reading the passage or just by skimming through the passage. The main purpose of taking this session was to teach you this particular technique, but while applying this technique, you have to be extra cautious. I would suggest not to go for immediately. Read passages. Make sure that you read at least 1 or 2 RCs in a day. Don't learn more than 5 words a day. And while analyzing your performance, make sure that you are not devoting entire time in solving difficult question. Let it be AR, DI, maths or verbal. Make sure that you solve easy, 90% accuracy, 80-90 minimum. So I think let's see what we have last question. According to it can be concluded that. So this I have taken 97 answer to this question was Shubham, you have asked this, should we start with verbal or quant? First of all, I would suggest that you should start with your strong area, and but it can be other way around also, because in our weak area, so we should go for only accuracy and we should attempt minimum question, whatever we want, whatever we attempt correctly, it should be correct. and with energy, much of the energy left, I should move on to my strong section. It is up to you, but my recommendation is that start with your strong section, because it increases confidence when you get the correct answers. So Shubham, have I answered your question? Shubham, yes? I think, okay. 97th question, the answer to this question was based on the last few lines, and answer to this question was fourth. So again, 3 or 4 questions were direct. I don't know why people picked up this as a difficult passage. I think that the reason was that must be tired after reaching this. Now I think the time has come to wind up the session. I think last question, 98th, and this is again summary based. Concluded. What can be concluded? Now, while framing the conclusion or the summary, in both the situation, we should cover the major fact. Listen this very carefully. We should be able to cover the major facts. In any passage, we give you minor facts also and major facts also. But while framing summary or a conclusion, it should be major facts. So just that's why if you haven't done critical reasoning or verbal reasoning in your classes, you'll find this as a little difficult. But if you're comfortable with the RCs, probably you find this as comfortable. So in this passage, so there are two kind of men writing. We're talking about writing for the sake of writing. It should not be writing for the sake of money only, because those who go by this philosophy, they'll not write anything worth reading. They'll write scrap, and generally we all love scrap. I also. But writing for the sake of writing should be there. Now, if I'm impressed by third choice, most of us were impressed by third choice. I don't know why. It says best work of the great men all come from time when they had write either for nothing or very little pay. He's saying that we have to write. Last line, the major thing, means who writes for the sake of subject. He will write absolutely worth reading. So third is technically wrong. I don't know why a student picked up third choice. And as long as money is to be made, money's choice strictly taken out. So if he does so, he would be cheating the readers. So fourth answer. But I picked up third because I don't know why the students picked up third, and they didn't find this that excellent books cannot be this read either for nothing. Why it should nothing? He has clearly mentioned writing for the sake of subject. It cannot be nothing. Nothing means no money. So that's why we picked up this. Am I clear about, guys? This is a basic mistake we commit while solving conclusion based question. I shall be taking next session also at I think the last question 99. I don't know why people got this as for me this was the easiest question. We have been now to weaken the administration claim that administration decided to impose entry tax on cars because they want roads to be less congested, and they want to reduce the congestion of the traffic. So we have to weaken. Just go through the choices, apply your common sense. But otherwise we do have techniques, because weakening is done around assumption. So no need to because he assumed that by imposing the taxes, people will stop coming to on these roads. The price in petrol diesel expected to fall substantially. Let's say the taxes increase and the prices petrol and diesels they're falling, they will fall. So the money can be compensated. So this is not going to weaken. This will weaken the administration claim that by increasing taxes, they will be able to control the traffic congestion. So the customers, the travelers, commuters can compensate from this also. Let's say the existing fleet of buses and monorail already operate near full capacity. So there is no point in imposing taxes because they are already running with full capacity. So the people not be utilizing these services, that there is no point in using. So if you impose tax also, if you assume that people will start utilizing these services, they cannot, because these are already running with full capacity. So again, this will weaken the administration claim. 10% of traffic is made up of only cars. So first line say that they are thinking of imposing taxes on car. So they are only 10%. So if you reduce even 10% of traffic, this is not going to make any significant reduction in the congestion. So again, this will weaken the claim. So I would say that answer is all the above. So that is all, guys. So yeah, Shivam, you are asking me the conclusion should cover the major idea presented. Should not focus only on minor ideas, and make sure that I'll be taking rest of the other session, mock analysis session also, and I'll tell you, because this very first session I'm taking about mock cat 1 and we have run only 45 minutes. The next session also I'll be talking about the same thing, but point is that we have to focus on third. Okay, Shivam, got this. So answer to this question was fourth. So guys, 5 minutes come to wind up this session. Thank you all for coming over here and sparing your time, because congratulations, New Zealand won the match. And see you next time. But my purpose was not to solve the paper. I picked a few questions just to teach you how to solve without putting too much of the efforts, with minimal efforts, how the questions can be solved, what are the tricks, and how to make the strategy, because 5 minutes come to make the strategy. So all the best, future managers. See you next time around at 5:15. I shall be taking one more session. All the best, guys. See you next time. Bye.